Hi everybody, my name is Kate Greenland and I'm going to talk to you today about a few albums that I really enjoy. First about myself, I am a singer-songwriter from Ottawa, Ontario. I now live in Wakefield, Quebec. I have been playing music now for just over 10 years. And I started out doing bluegrass music, playing mandolin. I then moved on to an old traditional country duo called Aiken Beggs, where we did a lot of Carter family stuff. And now I host a folk music night in Wakefield with my pal Clarke. And it's called the Folk Collusion, and we have guests every week and we play folk music, country music. And over the past few years, I've been writing some of my own original material, really inspired by the classic country, 60s, 70s country music with full band arrangements. And I'm very pleased to say that my debut album is coming out very soon, at the beginning of November. And I'm really looking forward to sharing all of that music with you. Everybody who's on the album did a really amazing job, and I'm so proud of them. The album itself is called Longing and Dreaming, and I'm really happy that soon everyone will be able to hear it. So the first album that I wanted to talk to you about would be my go-to album, and it's been my go-to album for quite a few years now. I was introduced to it by a roommate of mine. I had heard of this artist, but I never really got into them other than hearing other people play his music or their own versions of it, and that's Townes Van Zandt. And since then he's become a mainstay in my regular rotation of music that I listen to. I think the album for me that is the go-to would be Live at the Old Quarter. I feel like this is Townes at his most pure. It's an amazing collection of songs, and in a format that just feels very true to the material itself. It's a really fun album too because there's good banter on it, and it's really well recorded. It sounds great, and it has a lot of really meaningful and like classic Townes songs. And it's just Townes by himself with his guitar, which for me I think is when he's at his best. It's a double album, so there's lots to listen to, and I always think it's basically the best thing to throw on if you've got people coming over and you just want like a chill time to chat, have coffee, and sort of tune in and tune out of the music. But it's also really beautiful to sit and contemplate the lyrics that he writes because they're just so gorgeous and heartbreaking and romantic. So yeah, Live at the Old Quarter. The first album that I bought, or that I can remember buying, I grew up in a very musical household, so there was lots of music playing all the time, whether it was people actually playing it in the room with us or on the record player. But the first one that I remember buying myself was probably in like 1995, and that was Get a Grip by Aerosmith. My family musical history is very much rooted in bluegrass and country and folk, so I think around the age of 10, watching a lot of Much Music, I kind of wanted to rebel maybe against the bluegrass traditions of our household, and I got really hooked on Aerosmith, watching their music videos, and so I was able to buy that album. One of the houses I grew up in had a lot of kids, a lot of step siblings, and I definitely remember just sitting by myself with the headphones plugged into the stereo, listening to this album and just kind of feeling like I was in my own world. There's a lot of great singles off of that one: Crazy, Crying, Living on the Edge. Yeah, it's a pretty classic album, and I think it still holds up today. Maybe it's a little dated to some extent, but I think if you're feeling like you want to be immersed in the 90s again, that's a really good one to go to. I think the very best Sunday morning album is one that I don't actually have the real version or the version that I'm going to tell you about, but it's Super Songs by Roger Miller. It's a collection of greatest hits. I think that specific album is a little bit trickier to find, but there's a lot of good Roger Miller greatest album or greatest hits albums out there, and I highly recommend getting it. I feel like Roger Miller is the epitome of a Sunday morning. There's a little bit of, fun, maybe a little bit of laziness in some of the songs. But seriously, it's like probably the best record that you could play while making breakfast. I have a close runner up to Super Songs, but it's the Golden Hits record, and it does have a lot of the really great stuff on there. I have good memories of a roommate who did own the Super Songs album, just throwing that on in the mornings, and it didn't even have to be a Sunday, but throwing that on and making breakfast and coffee and kind of just dancing around the kitchen and scouting along with him and laughing. And it's kind of a record that you could just play over and over again and never really get tired of it. It's a really fun album. An album that I think that more people should hear is someone that's local, an Ottawa singer-songwriter, or if we want to be technical about it, she lives in Lac des Loups, and that's Chasing Dawn by Chloe Laberge. Really, any of Chloe's music I highly recommend you listen to. She has a beautiful voice and a really wonderful way of conveying emotions and visuals and story through her words that kind of allow you to put the message together yourself. She's not so explicit. She lets the listener kind of come to their own conclusions. But she's really got a way with words, and it's, I think, romantic and introspective music with beautiful melodies. And they're simple yet fresh, like you feel like you might not have ever heard something like this before. So you can find her stuff on Bandcamp and I think some other places online. But I really recommend checking out Chloe Laberge, and I'm very happy to say that she's a good friend of mine and is on my new album singing with me on some of the songs, and I couldn't feel more happy about that. The last album I bought, I don't have it physically, but it's an album that is not new at all, but I hadn't really ever gotten into this artist before. That's Jeff Buckley, Grace. I went to go see the documentary not that long ago with a friend of mine. I went in honestly not knowing anything really about him. The album came out when I was fairly young, and it just wasn't something that I was really exposed to. I had remembered seeing the album cover as a little stamp in our Columbia House catalog, but it wasn't one that we ever picked up for 99 cents. But it was, an image that just kept in my mind, and so then when I saw the documentary coming out, I thought, okay, maybe it's time to learn about this guy. And the movie was so moving and has so much footage of him, and I just felt like he was so genuine and sincere in his music and his inspirations of what he was writing about, and he was very intoxicating to hear sing and speak. And so, if you haven't seen the movie, I recommend it, but after having seen the movie, I purchased Grace, and I'm still getting acquainted with it, but it's really beautiful, really moving. It's quite an effort, and it's not like really much like anything that was going on at the time, and there's a lot of layers to it, and kind of going into listening to his music after learning about him and hearing him speak about himself, it's a really nice experience. And an album that I think stands the test of time is an album I picked up a number of years ago. Again, it's nothing new, but it's The Early Years of Volume 2 by Tom Waits. Volume 1 is great too, but this one just happens to be my favorite. I think this is a really great album if you ever have a date coming over. Throw this one on. It's romantic. It gives you something to talk about. There's some silly songs on it too. Beautiful lyrics, beautiful piano, bass, guitar. A lot of these songs he re-recorded later on different albums, but these versions are like the earliest recordings, I believe. And he's so young and his voice is so pure. It's not the Tom Waits that you might have gotten to know in his older years. It's a really soft, romantic kind of crooner voice. Really beautiful stuff, and I highly recommend picking this up. Honestly, picking up both Volume 1 and Volume 2, but this one in particular for me is the favorite. And I have lots of nice memories of, you know, maybe turning the lights down low, throwing on a candle, and putting this album on, and you know, have a glass of wine maybe, or a little bit of scotch, and it'll be a really great evening for you. So thanks so much for listening to me talk about some of my favorite albums that I have in my collection. By all means, this is not the end of what I listen to, but it's just some of the ones that I really like to turn to on a regular basis or wanted to share with you today. I hope that you'll find me online. I have my music up on Bandcamp. The full album will be coming out at the beginning of November, and it will be there, as well as some other places online. I also will have it available on vinyl and other digital means. So yeah, you can also find me on Instagram, Kate Greenland, Facebook. I don't have like a proper website right now, but just send me a message if you want to hear anything or know anything. And yeah, take care. Thanks so much.